Okay, wanting to do this kind of a guide to editing HTML, which seems to be a bit of a problem when formatting job listings for everyone. The reason is that we're dealing with three different programs here, and each program has a different way of coding the text. So the issue is that what you see on the screen in any particular application, software program, such as Bullhorn, Word, Internet Explorer, any other browser, what you're seeing on the screen is just the way it's presented. It has to be coded behind the scenes, and the problem is when cutting and pasting between these applications, what you're really pasting is the code as opposed to what you see on the screen. And the code, normally something gets lost in translation basically, which is what causes a lot of these problems. So you can see here in this this job listing on our website that there are a few different problems, but the main one here, in fact the only one I think, is the spacing between the lines. There should be a line after each heading, and there should not be a line between the bullet points. And then in some cases it seems to have inserted several lines. And this almost certainly started out in Word, and then went into Bullhorn, and then came into Explorer. So we've got three different applications, all with different coding, trying to talk to one another and having to translate using a set of assumptions, which is normally not effective. So I'm going to try and show you how to avoid this and hopefully how to address it. But the bottom line is that we always need to check to make sure that the job listing looks presentable on the front end. This is this is what matters. It's what the candidate sees. It's what the customer sees. So it needs to look professional and polished, and ideally as close as possible to a sort of standard. So let's have a look in Bullhorn and see how we actually go about posting this. So at some point this would have been cut and pasted into Bullhorn, into the job description section from Word, presumably, possibly also an email, which could be in Outlook, or it could be in the Mac version. So there's a few different issues there, but the key thing is that this box here is called a WYSIWYG editor, which stands for what you see is what you get. It's a simplified form of HTML editing, but really what's going on here is that Bullhorn is giving us a simplified way to edit the HTML that will be presented on the website, which controls the formatting in the browser. HTML is a standard browser and website language that's supposed to be consistent. It's not always, but it's supposed to be. So the thing is, so if we want to see what the browser is actually reading and what's controlling directly what is being presented on the front end, we need to check this View HTML box here. And at first this looks like a bunch of gobbledygook, and it is a bit, but it's not that difficult to get your head around. You just have to know what you're looking for. And the first thing to note when it comes to the line spacing issue, which is always an issue in HTML, I find, especially when cutting and pasting between different platforms or applications. The first thing to note is that this P in between two little arrows, that is the HTML code for the beginning and end of a paragraph. So these P's will always come in pairs, and they always mark the beginning and end of a paragraph. The significance of a paragraph is that it will always leave a space when you start a new paragraph. It will always leave a line break. So if you don't want a line break for any reason, you need to make sure that the section of text that you're dealing with doesn't use this P code. There's another code that is more suitable for that, and it's BR, which I presume is short for break, as opposed to P, which is for paragraph. The thing is that you can actually switch back and forward between the HTML and the regular view. I still find it easier to deal with this view for obvious reasons. But what you'll note is that when I try and click on the space between these lines, it won't allow me to. And the reason is that in that case I have used the paragraph break, which has created this line in between. The other element that always seems to pose a problem is bullet points. My advice on this is to never use the Word. Never try and paste in bullet points directly from Word. In fact, the best thing to do whenever you're cutting and pasting from Word into Bullhorn is to go via an application on PCs called Notepad, which I have open here, which I've already done. So what this does is, Notepad is a very basic text editor, and when you paste in anything from Word, the text editor will basically remove all the formatting and leave just the text. And then when you copy and paste back out of Notepad, you'll just be copying and pasting the most basic text, as opposed to when you do it from Word, when, whether you know it or not, and whether it's readily apparent or not, you are actually copying and pasting all of the coded language telling the application how to present the text and what spaces to leave, which is where the issues come in translation between the platforms. So let's go back to Bullhorn now. Okay, so you can see that if I just take this and I can just copy and paste it into the editor in Bullhorn, and I'll just pretend I'm doing this from scratch just to demonstrate it. So let's delete that. Oh. Let's copy this and paste it in. So this is unformatted text, which you can see still has brought over some gaps, and you can see right away that it's inconsistent from what I had in the text editor, because there is a gap after about the role, which is obviously a paragraph break because I can't click on it, but for some reason there isn't one after about the company. And you can see that when I try to enter one, it actually adds two. The reason is that for some reason it has added both a paragraph break and then another break, and I could deal with this by just clicking before our and deleting that last line break, but let me show you how this looks in the HTML for reference. So I'm here at the About the Company heading. So let's find this in the HTML. So there it is there, About the Company, and you can see that it's it has this P before and after it, denoting the paragraph, and then you can see the problem here is that it has a P and a BR, which is causing two lines. So if all else fails, all I need to do is delete that BR and then go back, and hey presto, that extra line has gone. Now these headings should be in bold, so all I need to do is highlight it and hit Control B for bold. So I'm just highlighting, I'm just bolding all of the headings, and you can see that there's a few issues here with spacing. So I'm going to delete that colon, add in the space, I'm going to delete the extra break, and here's another one. Now, the last thing I want to do is turn this list into a bulleted list. In fact, there are two lists in this job description. So to do that, I highlight this section and I click on bulleted list in the menu above. And immediately you can see that it hasn't understood my intention properly. It didn't create an entirely bulleted list. So all I need to do is click on each point, delete first of all, so that the text immediately follows the preceding text that is properly bulleted, and then hit return again, and it creates the new bullet and the list looks the way it should. Now I need to do the same thing here with this list. And here's another heading. And there you go. That should be a properly formatted job description. So now all I need to do is hit save. And hopefully Bob's your uncle. So you can see it looks okay in this published description section, and obviously we need to check that it looks okay in the front end too. It could take up to 10 minutes to update just because it only syncs between Bullhorn and the website every 10 minutes or so. So let's see if it's synced as yet. No. Still looks the same as it did before. Never mind, I'm sure it will soon. Thanks guys.